Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Samupe jumpe dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, ayum pamchima. Chintu asam pamchima. Chintu agratum chima. Era one, yebo numpamkua.
Kosua na ti Era One Radio empenyini say yensoma na motenten yesoma banyasafo Era One Radio yedin nsem anomuaye ebrem.
Hello, good evening, Era One Radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's another Tuesday, the 3rd day of January 2023. I think this is my first broadcast for the year, formally, so I want to wish you all a very, very prosperous new year. May this year be the best that you've experienced so far, and the other years will be the best over the best. So I want to wish you all the best. Well, in case you tune in, you are listening to Era One Radio. We are broadcasting, or I am broadcasting live from Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. If you want to call in to help with my discussion, of course, I don't want to be alone tonight, so please call and let's have a discussion. The number is 240-280-2633. And if you want to call in, text is 510-931-0946. This is the Divine Connection Show, and I'm your host, Charles Boison. So on behalf of the Era One Radio team, my CEO, Dr. Ostus, and all the team, I want to wish you all a prosperous new year. Tonight, unfortunately, it has to be me alone. My people are off tonight, so I'll be doing some trending issues tonight. And then if you feel led, if you are free, if you are not driving, you are not, doing anything serious, you can join me and let's have a lively discussion. All right, so tonight I'm looking at how to excel in what you do in this coming year. How you're going to excel, or how excelling in what you're going to do will bring you some opportunities that I've been looking for. Because, of course, we want to excel at what we're going to do. And if I have time, I'll go into how to be vigilant for this year, 2023. I believe it's an awesome year. So let's watch out. All right. Let me remind you where we are now, and then I'll come back with my broadcast.
Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Jumpe dietia. Chimafidi non kotu era one radio. Oh, ayum pamchima. Chintu asam pamchima. Chintu agratum chima. Era one, yebo numpamkua.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Boison Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Boison Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high-quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have X-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs, and you will be happy you did, because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you, and stay blessed.
All right, let me ask you this question. How is your year picking up? Or how has this started off? How is your new year going? Sometimes people might have a bad start and end up very well, or they may start very well and end up poorly. But all in all, the most important thing is that you finish strong and you finish well. So no matter how your year is began, I still believe that there is hope for your future. It's only the third day in this month. And so those of you made resolutions to either gain weight or lose weight or whatever you set your eyes to do, you can do it. All you need is to what? Focus and try to excel at what you want to do. All right. So in terms of trending news, I think most of you who watch TV, you heard that there was this 24-year-old player, NFL player, who had a cardiac arrest. And I think after 15 or 20 minutes of CPR, they had to carry him by emergency to the hospital. And from what we are hearing, he's still in a critical condition. So we are praying that he gets well and comes back. Of course, the game was postponed. So we are looking forward to his recovery and then he can come back. All right. So the players and the coaches and the football fans are anxiously waiting updates about Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills player who suffered a cardiac arrest during the Monday night's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's reported that Hamlin's heartbeat was restored on the field and he was transferred to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, where he was sedated in a critical condition as of early Tuesday morning. Even before coming to the studio, he's still, not fully recovered, and they are still, keeping eye on him. So we pray that it shall be well with him. So the 24-year-old's collapse, which happened in the first quarter after he collided with the Bengals player, brought a rare early halt to the game and left onlookers both on and off the field distraught. The game was postponed following that incident. So like I said earlier on, we are hoping that things will get better. All right. So the other thing I want to bring across is the funeral service for our late soccer hero, Edson Arantes Nascimento, also known as Pele. He's been laid in state in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Santos Stadium, where he played almost all his life, except a slight stint in the US. But then he's being honored tonight. So tonight, normally when I come on Divine Connection, either I'm with my team having a lengthy discussion, or if I come by myself, I try to do a character study. So I pick somebody that, I want to reflect on who is somebody who is a model. Somebody who epitomizes something that we can all learn from. So, of course, after I wake up, I did something on Messi. And then, so today I want to go back to soccer. So I want to reflect on Edson Arantes, the Pele. I have watched soccer all my life. And honestly, to be biased, this guy is second to none. I know the modern players, the Messis and the Ronaldos and the Neymars, and name all the players that you can think of. None surpasses Pele. Somebody who has appeared in 4 World Cups from the age of 17. He went to the 58 World Cup as a teenager, 17-year-old. He went to the 62. Both of them, they won. 66, due to injuries here and there, they didn't win. And the 70 was his finale. He won. So 4 World Cups, and he won 3, 58, 62, and 1970. That is an awesome feat. I know these modern players have tried and done all they can, but anybody who can win 3 out of 4 World Cups is a genius. The guy sleeps, he eats, he bathes, and everything is soccer. If you give me a soccer ball, maybe I can do something with it at this age of my 5 decades. I may try to do something with it, but then I may get tired after 10 or 15 minutes. But when the ball was given to Edson Arantes, that guy made something out of it. He became an ambassador. He loved the game so much that, if you are passionate about something, you will excel. So tonight, I want us to look at how you can excel at what you do. And the character study for tonight is the one and only Pele. Of course, you all know Pele wasn't even part of his name. During his school days, he mispronounced a word, B-I-L-E. And the classmates started making fun of him, Pele, and that became his name. Unknown to all of them, the name they gave him became anonymous is his fame. We're looking at character study of Pele, who is being laid in state in Santos Stadium. I hear he'll be buried on the 9th floor of the tallest cemetery in Brazil. What an honor. What kind of legacy are you going to leave when you pass from this earth? Are you going to be remembered for the guy who shot everybody he met? Or are you going to be remembered with a guy who shot every ball he got into the net and made him famous? That is Pele. And let me quote the scripture in the Old Testament as quoted by Solomon, the wisest person that ever lived, except Jesus Christ. Proverbs 22:29, and it says, do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men. And I believe Pele has exemplified this. He started just a teenager. I think at the age of 8, 9, his father, who was a footballer. Now, when you say footballer, people are wondering, is it the American football or other parts of the world football? I'm referring to soccer. His father was a soccer player. He loved soccer. He was part of the local team, and they lost a game. They lost one game, and he had told his son Edson that, men don't cry. Those of you fathers telling your children that men don't cry, that is not true. I mean, they make us feel that men are not supposed to cry, but men can also cry. So Daddy told Edson that men don't cry before that. And so when Daddy lost the soccer game, I think it was one of the World Cups, I believe, the 50s, to Uruguay. And then Edson was asking, Daddy, why are you crying? Daddy said, you don't know what you're asking me. We lost the game to Uruguay, World Cup. And son said, Daddy, I thought you told me that men don't cry. I said, well, there's only one exception. Men don't cry, but this one, there is tears. And Edson promised his dad that, Dad, I'm going to win the World Cup for you. I'm not sure whether he knew what was the implication of what he was saying, but he just said it out of, consoling his dad. And maybe he meant it because according to him, he was born to come and play soccer. So Pele promised his daddy, I'm going to win. And if you listen to his Spanish, voice, you will love that guy. I'm gonna win the World Cup for you, Daddy, at the age of 9. So this guy followed his dream. He followed his vision. He gathered, socks or stuff like that, pushing, all kinds of oldies and paper and stuff to make a ball bouncing here and there, and playing at anything that he could reach. Thank God he didn't boot his parents or whatever, but he was playing pots and pans, and anything that he could lay his leg on, he was playing it. That's how he began his soccer skills. And 16, he was drafted into the Santos team. 17 was World Cup. 17 years and a few months, close to 18. Brazil had to be part of the World Cup, and this guy was featured. He went there as a reserve, as a bench sitter. He was just warming the bench, that in case somebody got injured, they might push him. And destiny, good old destiny. Something happened, and Pele had to be somebody was replaced, and he had to go and fill in and come and see soccer. He wowed everybody on the stadium. He was carried shoulder high after that game. Pele proved that, I have arrived. So this is how this guy became famous. He didn't reach there, the 62. They had to go defend their trophy. Good old Pele was there. They did their thing. They defended it. And I think 66 is when they lost. I don't know whether it was England or they lost to something. But then comes 70. After that game, he was so much injured in the thereabout that he decided not to even play soccer again. He vowed he wasn't going to step the pitch. But when God is giving you a gift and you have to manifest it, bro, sis, you have to do it. So 70, he came back. Full speed. He came with full speed. He said, I am back. I'm going to show people that, yes, I can still do it. And see what he did. 1970 World Cup, Pele did his thing. I want to welcome Yabi, my own Yabi Boison, my sweetheart. Thank you for joining us. So we are looking at how you can excel in what you do for this year. And I said a character study for tonight is using Edson Arantes do Nascimento, Pele, at what he did. I want us to look at a few attributes about this guy. I love Pele. I have loved this guy ever since I was very, very young, playing, soccer in Ghana. I almost went into the courts, but then, in those days, you can't mingle soccer with academics. When you take soccer above academics, you say, oh, you're not going to excel. You are going to be true and footballer. So those days, it's not easy. It wasn't easy mixing soccer with, academics. So at a point, I had to let it go. But I love soccer. So like I said, Brazil is saying goodbye to the king of soccer. Literally, this guy is adored in Brazil. I'm sure most people in the world didn't know where Brazil was on the map. Maybe they just said it's in South America, but then they knew exactly what Brazil stood for and what Brazil could do. But this guy brought a whole country up on his shoulders and told the world that there's a country called Brazil. And how did he do it? He did it with his talent. With his talent. Kofi, you are welcome. Happy New Year to you. Glucose Care Man, you are welcome. The only footballer who is played in 4 World Cups and won 3. Can you imagine if he won 4? Man, that guy would have been something else. But even 3 is too much. I mean, nobody's done that. And so how do you become skilled at what you are doing? First, you have to identify the gifts and the callings upon your life. And then you have to find out how you can be skilled at it. Because this guy, like I said earlier on, if you give me a soccer ball, I'll just be bouncing, playing totals, and that's it. But this guy was given a ball, and look at what came out of it. Soccer ambassador, all the way. I mean, and as I read from the scripture tonight, your gifts and your callings will bring you before me. This guy has done it. He did it all. He became a UN ambassador. I mean, talk about money. Even in those days when he was playing, money wasn't the issue. They just had passion for the game. But these days, people are signing up contracts all over the country, all over the world, just to go and play and make some money. But this guy, he was just passionate about the game. And he was so expensive that his country, Brazil, refused to let him go anywhere. They declared him a national treasure, that we are refusing any European country, any country from anywhere to buy you. We won't. So Pele played all his life in Brazil until he retired in 1977 and traveled to the US to teach us how to play soccer. All right, so why was Pele so great? According to Reuters, Brazil's Football Association and Santos report that Pele scored 1,283 goals in 1,367 matches, 1,367 matches, though FIFA puts it at 1,281 in 1,360 games, just one difference. I mean, what does that make? If Brazilians say the guy scored 1,283 goals in 1,367 matches, and you are saying he scored 1,281, 2 goals doesn't make a difference. At least he scored more than 1,000 goals. That's the most important thing. So no wahala. But it wasn't even just the goals, because one of the nationals of Brazil right now, Neymar, we all studied playing soccer from this guy, said of Pele, he said, Pele was also an artist on the pitch. Can you imagine that? We would liken artists or people who draw or stuff, in the studio, put into, but this guy was an artist. His feet made him an artist. He could literally hold the ball, whether on his chest, on his head, wherever, and it's like it was glue that was attached to his body. The guy was prolific. I mean, this is what we call talent and gift. He could just somersault the ball anyhow. The guy was so scared. So, man, how does God give such a huge talent to one person? God knew he could handle it, because all throughout Pele's life, it's been known that this guy was so humble. He never raised himself on the day because he was, but then, of course, the only thing he said was that there can never be a second Pele. He is original. He's original. So he was born in 1940 in the slums, in a poverty-stricken home. And he used to kick a grapefruit around Brazil's Minas Gerais state. Pele finished his career as arguably soccer's greatest ever player. His mother, of course, is 100 years now. The mother is still alive. And as I read, the mother even, yesterday, the mom even didn't know that his son Pele was dead. Because Pele was put in a home. And the sister didn't want to tell the mom that, Mom, my brother, your son, sickness, the colon cancer is, advancing, so he didn't make it. He didn't even know. But I hear during the procession, his vehicle will be passing through his mom's place, so I'm sure he's going to listen to or see what is going on. I'm sure she's going to shed a lot of tears, because every mother or every parent would desire that they would die before their children, so the children will bury them. But here we are. Pele dies before the mother, who is 100 years. So assuming the mother gave birth to Pele at the age of 18. At the age of 18, she wasn't even that old, just a child. And some would have said, why are you a child 18 having a baby? Somebody would have said, let me go and abort this baby. You're only 18, you haven't even finished college or anything. But God had a destiny for this boy. So being that young, the mother here took care of this boy and made sure he was going to make something to this world. All right. So this guy, the rarity of him is like Muhammad Ali. Pele was a sports star who transcended his sports. I mean, just look at the boy bouncing a ball in his head and you understand. The Brazilian brought joy and creativity to a sport often stuck in rigidity and personified the beautiful game. I know in America, it took Pele to come here to let people know there is a game called soccer that is so exciting. I know Americans are so fascinated about basketball, football, and all that stuff. But soccer is a beautiful game. And he said, you know what? These people are not really conversant with this game. Let me be an ambassador and go and teach them how to play. He came to the United States at the age of 34 when he had retired from Brazil. Of course, at that age, the government can say, okay, Pele, you've done everything, so now we can remove you from, quote, national treasure, and you can go and teach the Yankees how to play. And he came, he was signed, I think, $2 million or something like that, 2 million or 200, something like that, to come and play for just 2 years. So 34, he thought he had retired with Santos in Brazil. He said, you know what, my job is not finished. I must go to the other side. I must go to other places and teach them how this game is played. And exactly that's what he did. And even when he came here, within a season, he scored over 51 goals. And he led Cosmos to the 1977 club game here. So, the guy was famous. I don't even know what word to use. Pele changed everything. Wrote the current Brazilian international Neymar Jr. after Pele's death was announced. He turned football into art, into entertainment. Can you imagine going to the stadium to people who literally pay, gate fees and whatever to go and watch this man play? And as we did on our show on Thursday, Pastor Akron and Uncle Max were telling me that Pele and Santos visited Ghana in, I think, 1969, and they played to the admiration of the whole stadium. And I still don't understand why they were able to play only 2-2. Pele would I'm sure he decided to just not score too many, so it was 2-2. And they went to Nigeria. There was a war that was pending in Nigeria. And could you believe that for that season, Nigerians were ready to forgo their tools, their weapons, put everything aside and watch Pele come and play. So not only was he a soccer ambassador, he even stopped wars. He went to Nigeria and played what kind of game they call it, to the admiration of Nigerians. And so these guys had to put their metals down, their war down. I'm sure when they finished the soccer, they went back to their war. But this guy was so influential. There was no way you couldn't love this guy. I never met Pele Fili Gardochi, but just reading about him and the skills is just full of admiration. So he turned football, mere ball, into an art, into an entertainment. You wouldn't regret going to watch this man. Every day that he played, people literally even went to the stadium just to go watch them train, just the training session. And can you imagine going to the World Cup 4 times and winning 3? Wow. He gave visibility to Brazil. And like I said earlier on, Brazil wasn't too known at those days. But in 1958, when Brazil led the team to win that World Cup and subsequently back-to-back 62, May 66, and gain it 70, of course, everybody will hear about Brazil, the soccer team, the Samba boys. That is why on every 4-year World Cup, everybody is tipping Brazil to win. Unfortunately, Neymar couldn't win. Can you imagine if Neymar won the World Cup for Pele before he died? But anyway, Messi was strong. From dazzling as a 17-year-old in 1958, on his way to his first Cup success to claiming the Golden Ball Award as the player of the 1970 World Cup as he won a 3rd global title, the King achieved almost everything possible in the famous yellow and blue of Brazil. Tonight, we are talking about how do you excel at what you do. In 2023, if you want to make it big, you have to excel at what you are doing. Do not despise your little beginnings or your little gift. Whatever you feel God has given you as an endowment, excel at it. And my brother Kofi is introduced this herbal tea in Ghana, and he wants to make sure Even if he doesn't do anything for Ghana, he's saving people who are diabetic by introducing this herbal tea that people are drinking, and it's reducing or taking away their diabetes. Whatever you are good at, excel at it. If you're a nurse, if you're like my wife, of course, you want to excel at what you're doing. That's what she does. You're taking care of patients like Florence Nightingale. No wonder every patient wants you to come and take care of them. So whatever you are doing, if you want to make it big, you have to excel at it. These are the days when mediocrity will not take us anywhere. If you want to be a mediocre person, it's not going to take you anywhere. You have to excel at it. How did we get all this transmission? How am I being able to transmit to our followers or listeners, through Facebook or YouTube, whatever? Somebody had an idea. A young guy who was in university decided, you know what, I want to connect to my friends so we can see each other in video and chat. And so incepted what we call Facebook. So now social media is everywhere. And he's been doing so well that he has excelled at it. No wonder we are all experiencing this beauty. So whatever you want to do this year, make sure you are not doing it in a mediocre way. You are excelling. You are doing it as if you are doing it unto the Lord. That's what the Bible says. That whatever you do it excellently to the glory of God. Don't think, oh, my boss is not watching, so I'll not do it well today. When my boss comes to work today, I will do it. If you are saying that you are teleworking or you are doing anything, you have to wake up the time you are supposed to, get on your computer and work as though nobody is watching you. You have to excel at what you are doing. And then let's talk about some goals. I mean, like I said, the goals were just numerous. I mean, the guy excelled at his job. He was a master at it. The world first got a glimpse of Pele, like I said, in the 1950 World Cup. When we said, this is what Pele said, when we arrived in Sweden, no one knew that Brazil, what Brazil was. Can you imagine? People have, sometimes you go to World Cup and the Europeans are there, England is there, Argentina is there, you have, France is there, all these countries, Croatia, name it. But according to Pele, nobody had even heard about Brazil. So he said, you know what, you haven't heard about Brazil? Okay, let's go. This is coming to you. I am going to introduce when I display on the field, when I tell you what I'm going to do skillfully, not just pass and go. When I demonstrate what I can do perfectly to you, you will not forget about me, you will not forget about my country. So he went there with the purpose of, I am on the bench as a reserve, but I will leave a champion. And so he went to Brazil and he left the name of Brazil. Everybody could spell Brazil. The Brazilians themselves, they spell Brazil with an S in the middle, but the English is Brazil, Brazil. So Pele left the World Cup in Sweden with what? The name of Brazil on the lips of everybody. Did you see what happened? That young guy, that 17-year-old boy came and mesmerized everybody in the stadium. I mean, you couldn't help mention the guy's name. And he became the youngest person to play in the World Cup at the age of 17. Who had done it? Nobody. A record that Brazil had until Northern Ireland's Norman Whiteside took that landmark in 1982. So his record from 1958 was only broken in 1982 when this Ireland guy broke that record of being another 70 or something. Almost 15 years after leaving the World at the 1958 World Cup, Pele hung up his boots for Celestia, bequeathing his nation the legacy as the most successful in World Cup history and the most feared team in international football. Of course, after winning 3 or 4 World Cups, back to back, who wouldn't fear Brazil? Everybody was scared of them. Brazil, so maybe the first 1958, they said, this guy is just another, and I think I'll have a comment on that. He's just an ordinary guy coming to play, but he left them mesmerized. After 1958, you just can't say, Brazil is any other country. They left, and up to now, any World Cup, Brazil is one of the nations that are team, although sometimes they don't make it there, but they are still a fearsome team. And let me just share a few attributes before we go on. What are the attributes that make Pele so unique? One, the guy was patriotic. Patriotism is very important. Pele was very patriotic. He loved the game more than money. In his days, money was not so much the issue. Now, let's think about some of the countries that, play World Cup. So I believe even because of him, they decided that they are not going to allow nationals to live to other countries, naturalize there and play soccer. So we realized that most of these players, let me take an example, Messi, Neymar. Messi is an Argentine, from Argentina. He plays for PSG right now. But any World Cup comes, he has to go back to his original country, that is Argentina, and play for it. If that law wasn't in existence, then they get stayed there. Otherwise, Messi will be playing for France since he plays for PSG. Of course, Mbappe is already, and Neymar from Brazil will still be playing for France. But that's not the case. When it comes to World Cup, your land of origin, where you were born or where you decide to, that's what. So you can go and play for any commercial team anywhere, Europe or wherever. But when it comes to World Cup, you have to go back to your roots. So no matter what it is, they have to go back. And Pele was so patriotic. He said, you know what? Santos took me as a little boy. They raised me. They gave me the opportunity to play, and I've been playing. And so he didn't turn his back on them. Even when European teams came to sign him, Real Madrid came, all these players came to sign him to play for them. He said, no, I'm still staying in Brazil. And the government was smart and realized that, you know what? This guy is a treasure. If we allow him to go, we have lost all these chances. Of course, he was going to make money by himself, but Pele also realized that, no, patriotism is my push. How patriotic are you? Some of us, we don't even mind about our country. Of course, some of us have two citizens or two nationalities, where we were born and where we've been naturalized now. But whatever it is, patriotism will take you far. Some of you, you don't even value your country. You don't care. Our leaders don't mind, so we too don't mind. You eat and you throw it anyway. You don't even have love for your country. And when it comes to lifting the flag, some of you don't care. But patriotism is a very important, the love for your nation. Where you have signed to be a national citizen, you have to love the country and do all you can. So whatever gift you have, you have to use it and excel at it. All right. So, yeah, I see a few guys who have joined me. Thank you, Boison. Thank you, Kofi, Boison, Lucas Care. You guys, I love your comments. Listening to you, I'm loving Pele all over again, of course. I mean, the guy was just adorable. Adorable. Kofi is excellent in everything that we do. We have to put excellence. I mean, nobody say you should be perfect at everything. It's difficult. Only God is perfect, but excellence is another thing. Putting dexterity at it, being mindful of what you are doing and doing it very well. Even when it comes to sweeping, you have to sweep so well that somebody doesn't, man, you are skilled at sweeping. Whatever you find to do it very well that somebody will notice you and upgrade you. Sometimes we don't respect the things we do. So how is somebody going to promote you? We have to excel. In 2023, if you want to go up higher, you have to add excellence to what you are doing. That is why I'm using the character study of Pele, Edson, as an example. The guy was just adorable. He loves soccer so much that he put everything. I haven't actually read how academic he was or what kind of education, whether he had a master's degree, bachelor's degree, or PhD or whatever. It's not important. But he discovered earlier on in his life that soccer is my niche. That is what I was born to do. So the guy will even go to sleep with a soccer ball under his armpit. That is how much this guy loves soccer. What is your niche? How are you changing the world? Of course, it begins by knowing what God has given you and excelling at it. So the guy had passion for the game. If you are passionate about something, you will do it with dexterity. It doesn't matter, like I said, whether you are the cleaner in the office or whatever. Doing it well is the most important. You can be a cleaner and you will clean so well. People will even enjoy the way you clean. I mean, can you imagine even working at the airport, being a cleaner? The broom that you hold, the way you hold the broom, the way, the antics you do, people will just love you. They will just remember you. That's why you get tips. So whatever we feel that we have to do it excellently. Do it very well. And Pele was professional about his calling. Of course, he gave credit to God and said that God brought him into the world to play and teach soccer. If you have not discovered your calling yet, it is time to find your way back to God and find out what he wants you to do. Pray and find out what God wants you to do. Of course, if you haven't found it, like I said, it is about time. 2023, we have to discover what God. It doesn't matter how old you are. Some people find their niche at the age of 80, 70, 100, whatever it is. But even if it's 5 years that you have to take to excel and perfect and leave a name, that is what it is. Look at people like Albert Einstein, or Edison, and all these people that brought about lights, and all the scientists. They had something that they were passionate about, that they did it very well. All right, so Pele's crowning moment for Brazil came at the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, a tournament further romanticized by being the first World Cup broadcast in color. So earlier on, they all broadcasting black and white. I mean, TV hadn't come yet. And even that somebody say, you know what, I'm going to excel at what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure TV appears in color. So when we see our players, we will know that they are wearing yellow and green for Brazil and not all black and white. And so 1970 World Cup was telecast in color. You could see Brazil's t-shirt, the famous jersey. They always don the green and the yellow. That is their, the official traditional clothes. And that's when TV came in color. So somebody said, you know what? I'm going to follow this guy. I want people to see him in color. And that is exactly what somebody decided to do. All right. Throughout the tournament, Pele blazed a trail of technicolor splendor, a blur of yellow and gold, beguiling and bewitching opposition team. The guy was just mesmerizing the players. I mean, even sometimes keepers would just come and shake him. The man, I didn't think you could score. And there was one particular goal that Pele caused the most famous save that he had experienced. He had the ball and he headed the ball. It was supposed to be in the post. By all calculation, it was supposed to be in the post. But I think Gordon Banks caught the ball and Pele said, you know what? This is extra. Oh, you catching this ball is extra because I knew it was supposed to go. And what even marveled me, like Pastor Kron and Uncle Mark said the other day, that when Ghana was playing Brazil in the 1969, Pele hit the ball that he knew was supposed to go into the post, but it went over the bar. And what happened? He told them the post wasn't measured to specification. Can you imagine that a player plays a ball into the post and he thinks he should score, but the ball goes over the bar and he tells you, you guys didn't measure the post where it wasn't constructed well. And lo and behold, when they measured the post, they realized that the post wasn't constructed to accuracy. So the ball that he played was supposed to be in the net. This is crazy. I can't even fathom that. I can't even fathom that. Of course, yeah, Kofi says your absence should always create a vacancy in everything that is. That is very true. If you are so good at something, when you are not around, people should realize your absence. Oh, this guy is not here. This girl is not here. That is what the world is going to miss. I mean, I wish Pele would just come back again, be born again, and come and play again. But he said there's never going to be a second Pele. That is right true, Kofi. Your absence should be felt. You are so good that when you don't show up, even at work, you are the one that makes everybody laugh. When you're not at work, people say, oh, today is a boring day. Jack is not here. Your presence should let people glow. You should glow at work and people there's something going on. It shouldn't be the other way. That when you are absent, go say, yeah, the guy is not there. What a jubilation day. That should not be the case. Your presence should emanate some light and some radiance that when people see they're excited. When you're not there, oh, we are missing this guy. That's how you're supposed to be. All right. So his 4 goals earned him player of the tournament, capped by an assist to Carlos Alberto's breathtaking goal in the final against Italy. When Italy was playing Brazil, the final, that tournament, Pele, not always wanting to score, he said, you know what, this is where I'm standing, I can't score here, or I don't have to be selfish, I have to pass. And he passed it to the captain, Carlos Alberto, and lo and behold, it was in the net. What if he was selfish? So I'm just go ahead and do everything. No, as a player, you have to know when to score and when to pass. That aspect of selfishness has to live in real life. You have to know when you can depend on people and when you have to forge ahead. You have to know the timings. You don't say, oh, I'm the number 9 player, I'm the best attacker. And so, I've been seeing some videos about people I don't want to mention. But you can see 2 typical videos I've watched this week. One player gets the ball. He wants to dribble everybody around and score. And there was another player in the video who dribbles and he sees either his teammate on the right side who is open and he just dishes the ball to him and the guy scores. And so we win. So the one who was trying to do everything, score everything, win a goal and whatever, never got it. So in life, selfishness won't help you. You have to know when to go solo and you have to know when to score. Soccer is all about teamwork. We won the World Cup, and I think in my life in sport, that was the pinnacle. No doubt. That's what Pele said. After the 1970, this guy said, man, I have come and have seen and have conquered. That is it. No wonder the Italian defender, Tarcisio Begni, summed up Pele's superhuman genius. The guy was superhuman. The guy just had too much. The guy was just too much. In our modern parlance, he was just too much for the game. He would just mesmerize you. You can't even fathom how he did it. Like LeBron James standing somewhere and shooting whatever, or, Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. These guys all excelled at their game. No wonder their names can never be depleted. So this guy said, I told myself before the game, he's made of skin and bones, just like everyone else, but I was wrong. So this defender said, Pele, I've heard about you. I hear you do stuff on the field. But you two, you are just bones and flesh like us. You're not going to do anything crazy here whilst I'm on this pick. But after the game, the guy said, you know what, I spoke too soon. This guy is just too much. The guy is just skilled. All right. And if you are famous like this, how do you cope up with the pressure? Of course, In my research, I don't think Pele was even a pompous person. His impact on the soccer game was just his presence in the game put terror in the opponents. Oh, what is your selection for tonight? Oh, we're going to have, okay, Carlos Alberto will be up there. And then, oh, how about Pele? Pele is not playing. Oh, yes, Pele is not playing. No, Pele is playing. He's going to be playing this match. And so just the sheer mention of his name sends terror into the opponent. Pele is going to be there. There's no way this guy is not going to score. No matter whatever defender you are, he will beat you. All right. So as a Pele also became the symbol of a new country. Like I said earlier on, not many people knew about Brazil. But when he went for this World Cups, he introduced the name Brazil, and they knew that if nothing at all can come from Brazil, soccer is our thing. And so he idolized soccer among them. According to recent Netflix, he also featured in a documentary, so these stories are there. You can't see you're not going to document Pele's story. To cope with that, I think he creates this Pele character, someone who almost kind of forgoes his own identity to become Brazil's essentially. Ben Nicholas, a co-director of the documentary of Brazil's life, told CNN that this guy, he exemplified the country. When you mention Brazil, you can't leave out Pele. And when you mention Pele, of course, you have to tell where he comes from. How do you cope with pressure in 2023? There's going to be pressure. There's going to be, inflation is not going to cease in one day. Gas may come down, may come up. In your own life, wherever you live, when pressure comes, how are you going to cope with it? Pele could be, and sometimes I ask myself, Pele, during your days, how were you coping with women? Because, if you look at Pele, you look at his thick hair and the way his barber did his hair, the guy was handsome. Even at the age of 82 that he died, the guy was still handsome. And when you look at his pictures in those days, Pele was brilliantly, famously handsome. I admire this guy. Pele was a handsome man, and he was skilled at soccer. And so with such qualities, which woman wouldn't fall for him? And if you have every woman falling for you, how do you cope with that pressure? Discipline. In 2023, if you don't take anything, take discipline. There are some things that are experienced but are not lawful. Some things are lawful but not expedient. There are some things you think you can do but you're not supposed to do. If you follow about your beauty or your handsomity or whatever, it's going to lead you in trouble. You got to be disciplined. Pele was under pressure, even on the park and outside the park. He had all this pressure. I'm sure women were giving him scholarship and all that, but you know what? He stayed focused. Stay focused. So now the GOAT debates, of course, now GOAT means the greatest of all times. It's still going on. Some say, oh, it's Diego Maradona. Some say it's Lionel Messi. Some say it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Some say it's Pele. This argument has been laid to rest. To me, Messi is good. Ronaldo is good. Mbappe is good. Maradona was famous. These guys are all good. But I vote for Pele. Somebody who can win 3 World Cups. Every 4 years he was going, starting at 17. Man, you can't beat that. Not just that I am idolizing because he's there, but just come on now, put your minds down. The guy was just awesome. But Brazil's pure love and adoration for Pele cannot be matched. And it's one which extends further than just an excellent footballer, but to a totem pole for a nation. Brazil has lost a lot. The world has lost, but there will never be another like Pele. He was just famous. If I were to turn to him, I will ask him how he coped with all the women in Brazil. I know, of course, he had children, 7 children with 2 women, I believe, thereabouts. But even that was meager. This famous guy with all this money and under all this pressure, and he managed all that. The guy was something. Like I said, humble and handsome. Ladies going over him, 7 children, And I love something about his barber. He had the same barber for how many years? Since he was, I think, 16. The barber is also 84 years, still alive. And the barber cried when he heard Pele had died. He cut this guy's hair for over from 15, 17. Even when Pele was sick, he will call this barber. He will come to his home, hospital, and give him a haircut. That is how dedicated this guy was. He was even patriotic to even the people, his barber. Same barber. They say if it's not broken, don't fix it. If something is working and very working well, you don't have to change it. Just like a wife. Are you going to tell me, oh, okay, so my wife is broken, so go and change it? No, that is why you stay with one woman. If it's not broken and it's the best, why try to somebody say, oh, it's been a long time, I want to change. No, there are some things when they are good, you stick to them. Pele stuck to his barber for over 60 years. And that's how committed it was. All right, so that's the secular aspect of my excelling at what you do. Now, let me give you some pointers. In 2023, how are you going to excel? What are you going to do to excel? If you are in a job place, you have to create a good relationship. Some of you are always fighting with your bosses. I will teach my boss that I know more than him or her. Oh, if he tells me something to do, no, I'll teach him that this is done this way. Sometimes you can express your ideas, but then if you want to be excellent at what you do, you have to create good relationship. Be good with people. Have good human human skill, whatever it is. Good human skills. Have a good relation with people. It is not always that you have to tell people your peace of mind. I mean, if you keep telling people your pieces of mind, a time will come when there will be no mind left to tell anybody. So sometimes reserve your peace of mind. I mean, have a good relationship with people. Of course, it doesn't mean you have to be mute when you need to express something. You can go to boss, I have this initiative. I want to share this with you. Have an open door policy. I want to discuss this with you. Have a good relationship with people. If you want to excel at people, have a good relationship with the people you work with or your boss, because they have the power in that sphere to either promote you or keep you down. So know how to move and when to move. Be a positive influencer or influence. Be a mentor. Influence people, not the one that drinks and smokes every day. Hey guys, I can teach you how to smoke ganja 3 rolls in a second. That is not that influence. But when somebody comes into the work as a new person or something, take them under your wings. Be a good influence. Let them see you. You come to work early. You leave at the right time. Break time you are doing. It's not somebody who just goes to the office and you are chatting 4 hours a day and you do work 2 hours and you go and gossip 2 hours and 4 o'clock you take your bag and gone home. No, do the work as if you are doing it for yourself. You have to be a positive influence. And this year, if you want to excel, you have to be professional. It's very, very important. The way you speak to people, the way you curse and all that should be eliminated. Some of you can't say a full sentence without cursing. The S and the other stuff, it's not appropriate. If you want to make it this year, if you want to excel at what you do, you have to be professional and you have to take initiative. Don't always be asked to bring the file, do this, sweep here, wash the dishes and all that. My house, when I go to the kitchen and there are dishes there, I don't wait for anybody. That, oh, he's the man. No, I wash dishes, I mop the floor, I do everything. It doesn't take any manless for me. It doesn't make me reduce in anything. Take initiative. If you have to do laundry for your wife, do it. If you have to fold the clothes, do it. It doesn't spoil you. And in Ghana, especially Africa, they say men are not supposed to do certain things. If you're a man, you're not supposed to do this. Don't sweep. Don't wash your wife's clothes. I mean, all this crazy stuff. You know what? You come to Abuja and realize things are different. Take initiative. Be professional and know when to ask for help. Some of you say, oh, I'm a man, I don't want to ask anything from anybody. I will do it until I break if I can't do it. And they say of men that even when we are getting lost on the road, we will never ask for direction. The GPS you trust so much can fail you. And so if it's possible, stop at a gas station. Oh, ask the guy, hey, I'm going here. The GPS said I'm supposed to be there. I think I'm lost. Can you give me direction? It doesn't reduce who you are. If you are doing something at work and you have to ask somebody who has experience, don't feel shy. Would you rather destroy yourself, mess up the job just because you didn't ask? Ask for help when you need it. So 2023, let's change our ways. Add into your resolution, I'm going to ask for help when I need it. I know my kids are more technological savvy than I am. If I need help, hey, JJ, come help me. Divina, come help me. Joa, come help me. It doesn't make you a lesser person. In actual fact, people have more confidence in people who ask for instructions or help. It doesn't reduce who you are. And so 2023, if you're going to make it far, if you're going to excel, then you have to do what? Get help when it's necessary. Accept feedback and be willing to learn. Some of you, no correction will help. Me too, I'm guilty. I'm talking to myself. You have to learn to take feedback willingly and accept them and move them. Of course, I'm not saying anything anybody tells you, just take it hook, line, and sinker. There are people who are mentors, they've done the thing you've done before, and they can direct you in the right place. Instead of listening to them and say, no, you feel pompous, you are so big, you are older, so you can't take any advice from any child who is less than you 2 or 3 years. It doesn't work. We are all skilled at something. God gave us gifts that we can excel and help each other. Don't feel like you have to do everything on your own. So you are so pompous, you won't learn anything from anybody. It's not going to help. And you have to communicate well. Communication. If looking for a house is under the paradigm of location, this year, if you're going to make it, communicate. We all have to communicate. My wife will tell me, I don't know what is in your head. So if you're not going to say it, I don't know. And the same way, vice versa. We have to be able to communicate and communicate very well. When I joined the Navy, there was something we do about communication. When you are given instructions, you don't just say, okay, I hear. You have to read back what you heard, especially when those are the helmsmen who are, controlling the ships and, on the sea. Your captain doesn't want you to ground the ship or something. So he give you direction, 5 knots, 6 south. You don't say, okay, I hear you. You have to repeat 5 knots, 6 south, aye, to make sure you heard very well. So communication is very, very important. This is an area that most of us falter and we fall short. We have to be able to communicate the way we talk to people and all that fall under communication. All right, I have only 3 minutes left. I'm going to wrap up. I think I've been speaking too much. Let me do a quick ad, and then after that, I will give you the spiritual aspect. I'll throw in something about the prophetic on the Ghana's, the prophecies and all that. We'll see where we go.
This is not your typical tea. The Major Herbal Tea by Glucose Care International is a nutritious drink and a natural blood glucose reducer. Gymnema plant, the active ingredients in the Flamingo Herbal Tea suppresses the absorption of carbohydrates ingested from your diet. The green tea content in the Flamingo Herbal Tea promotes rejuvenation of dead cells, detoxification of your system, stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, and improves metabolism. Drinking 1 sachet of Flamingo Herbal Tea after meals prevents the rise in blood sugar levels, suppresses appetite, and improves bowel movements. Drinking Flamingo Herbal Tea regularly after meals can also prevent type 2 diabetes. We encourage you to drink Flamingo Herbal Tea 3 times in a day, coupled with mild exercises to maximize its benefits. Flamingo Herbal Tea has been approved by the FDA. Toxicity test conducted by SGS, so it is safe and non-toxic. A product of Singapore. With Flamingo Herbal Tea, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call our shop now on 0245 810 623 and set your path to good health.
So drink this tea that's approved by Ghana FDA in style and well, and you will reduce your diabetes if you happen to have some, or you know somebody who is suffering from it. All right, I'm going to end with a reflection on the 2022 prophetic nights in some parts of Africa. I've been looking around to see if the same thing happened in the US, but not much has been going on. I mean, people don't do that much, where every 31st night they have to stand in the churches and prophesy doom and all that stuff. You know what? I think that the area of prophecy has been overhyped, to use that word. I'm not saying, but then if you look at Ephesians 4 verse 11 to 16, this is what the Apostle Paul told us. He knew a time was going to come that people will be fighting over which of the fivefold ministry is the best. This is what I call division of labor. God has given us this fivefold ministry. I mean, there may be more than that, but then notably, the office of these fivefolds: the apostle, the prophet, the evangelist, the pastor, and the teacher. These are fivefold ministry that God gave us through the apostle Paul mentioned to us. These are supposed to equip and edify the church. But it looks as if some people have realized, okay, if I'm a prophet and I can foretell the future of other people, that will make me more prosperous, more famous, whatever it is. And so every 31st December, they gather in churches and they want to, some scare people, oh, this one is going to die. I'm yet to hear about prophets saying that, okay, 2023, the city is going to go to 1-to-1 United States dollar or euro or pound sterling. We don't hear that, but we hear a lot of dooms and glooms, which kind of bothers me a little bit. I'm not saying that don't say what God shows you, but then how about going to these individuals and talking to them? If you can just come and say it on TV. So why don't you, I had this revelation about you. Look for the person's phone number. Do a one-on-one. Some will say, oh, when we go on one, they won't listen. So we have to proclaim all the nation. Talk about the nation. Of course, God is going to prosper us if you guys work hard and you eschew laziness. You do what you're supposed to do things excellently. The nation will blossom. But we hear this one is going to die. An aircraft is going to fall. Okay, it's good to warn people. but you put fear in people. So I think that, the way these 31st December prophecies have been going on for the past few years, I don't think it's proper. And I know a couple of years ago, the IGP brought a memo. Even this year, I think 27th of December, a memo was circulated that those of you who want to prophesy doom and gloom, please don't scare people. You put fear in people. So now that we had testimony, prophecy that some aircrafts are going to fall down, are going to literally crash or something, are people going to fly? Are we putting fear in people because we are telling them not to fly or we are warning them? It could be a dimorphic reason, but then the doom and the glooms are too much. We have to watch it. And we have placed so much emphasis on the prophecy that we neglect the other parts. When Paul mentioned this as God, he said, God gave at least 5 types of leaders to the church. If you read John Maxwell's Revelation, and these are the apostle, prophets, evangelists, teachers, and pastors. They exist for what reason? To complete members' growth. These 5 ministries are there to complete members' growth, not only one part of it. What if all we get in church is prophecy? How are people going to grow by word? They will not even read the Bible. All they will do is, okay, so for that is all we will hear. Nobody is going to grow by teaching. Nobody is going to win souls and bring them. We have even made it so that even the evangelist work is not important, but he is the one that goes out to bring the soul. Before I leave, 2 minutes. The apostle, this is the person who is sent forth to pioneer and establish new works and new leaders. I think I'll have to take another time, either by myself or with my panel, to go in depth. The apostle is sent forth to pioneer and establish new works and new leaders. The prophet is the one who speaks for God's word to inspire, correct, and motivate. That is very important. Very, very important. Pastor Ano is one of the prolific, the most authentic prophets I've seen known in Ghana. But I don't hear too much of him, 31st, spelling out all this doom and gloom. No. Most of the good ones don't make too much noise. But we hear people who, I don't know how God spoke to them. I'm not going to challenge their modus operandi for listening. But sometimes the things you say are too much gloomy. Please learn to put some, decorum on them and make them, appealing. People are scared. We want to know what God is saying, but do it nicely. And then the prophet is one who speaks for God's word and inspire and correct. And then the evangelist, he who shares Christ with outsiders and trains others to do so. The pastor is the one who shepherds. When the evangelists have gone and won souls, when they come to the church, the pastor is the one that passes them, teaches them to be grounded, guides and guards God's people as they serve. And the teacher is the one who trains God's people in truth and teaches others to do so. We have to rely on all these 5 ministries and not just one area that people think, okay, if I'm Michelle Nkoma and Kofbebo Master 31st, I hope I am will be a baby team commission. It's good. We need to hear what God is saying. But some of you have majored on only one aspect of the 5-fold ministry, and it's too much. People are getting scared. So every 31st night, before that, the IGP has to come and warn you. Don't share income that is going to, scare people. It's too much. Even the IGP has his commission that this year he's going to lose his position. I mean, it's something. So why wouldn't you just call IGP and say, IGP, I feel wage my baby, you have to tell the whole world that the IGP is going to be fired or kicked. It doesn't sit right with me. And sometimes you begin to wonder, who are these people actually hearing from? But anyway, when God was calling somebody, I wasn't there. But I'm telling my peace of mind that with what I read and what I observe, something should be done in decency. If you want to tell somebody he's going to die tomorrow, find the person's phone number. These days, it's not difficult finding people's number. There's phone numbers, MTN, Vodafone, everywhere. T-Mobile, whatever you want to do. Get close contact. Don't come and scare people in public, because if somebody hears that he's going to die right now, it's scary. And then they will put a caveat that if we pray, then it's going to be avoided. Of course, when we pray, it's going to be avoided because we know that God reveals to redeem. So let's do it in a decent way. We are not saying don't do your prophecy or whatever. We all need prophecies to know how things to go, but then do it in a better environment so there will not be, because these days, you know what, I think people are even getting scared of church. The same thing that you are thinking that people will come to church, in a way is turning people away from God. Because if you guys are saying one person will say NDC will win, one will say MPP will win, we are confused. You've made God a confused God. God can't tell exactly which party is going to win. Is God that confused? Not the God that I know. If God says today is today is today, but you guys are confusing us. One party says NDC will win. One says MPP. So which God cry are we speaking? We have a God for MPP. We have a God for NDC. We have a God for independence. Come on, God. God is better than that. The omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, the God that parted the Red Sea for Moses and his people to pass through, the one that turned 2 fishes and 5 loaves into bread. You are telling me that man is so confused that he will tell somebody MPP will win, and you say, "Oh, I told this guy MPP will win," but you know what? Would they catch us? Would the NDC baby to catch it? So spread and confuse the people. You are making people get confused. They don't even know whether they should even come to God, church, and worship God. People are confused. So pastors and prophets, please, this is my plea. Let's do what is right. Let's say what is right. If you haven't heard from God, and you're by force, so into so quite so no bomb pie man for now we show moon cry because I fear be munye juma din do time so kwejuma men churchable fix okano your way they live a good life. What is going to happen? Do we have to shall come by force? That we have to shall come by force? See, can be shall come for say yes, you are being. It is not necessary. If you're evangelist, preach the word of God. Let people get born again. If you're a pastor, when people come in, pastor them well. Pastor them well. Pastor them well. Teach them what you're supposed to do. Not maybe doing corner with some of the girls or whatever. That is not it. Let's emulate Christ. Let's show the world what God is. If people see us, they should see Christ in us. But if we are leading them astray, we will pay for it. So, beloved, I just want to leave on this note. I'm 3 minutes past my time. But let's do what is right. If you're an evangelist, excel at being an evangelist. If you're a pastor, excel at being a pastor. I'll give an example. Dr. Mensa Otabil, he's not he doesn't call himself a prophet. He calls himself a pastor, pastoring people. He doesn't convert the gifts that me to have to prophesy. When Dr. Mensa Otabil realized the church needs a word from God that he hasn't heard, he called Pastor, no, Pastor, come and minister. Pastor, no, will give a word. Every pastor, every man knows his field. So don't convert. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't convert somebody's gift. Some of you want to be everything. You want to be a pastor, a teacher, evangelist, a prophet, an apostle. It is good if you have that gift. But if God has given you one, major on it. Excel at what you are doing. This year, 2023, my beck and call. Excel at what God has called you to do. If you're an evangelist, be the best evangelist the world has known. Me, I'm not a prophet. I will not even convert to be a prophet if God hasn't given me. What I know how to do now, by courtesy of Dr. 32 to have this platform, I will come here and share what I can share. I'm not convert anybody's good. I'm not even converted. Some people call me Pastor Charles, Mr. Menyosopo. I'm not a pastor, although we are all supposed to share the gospel. I will not convert what God hasn't given me. If you are not a prophet, don't convert that gift of being a prophet. Stay in your lane. Preach so well that when people come to you, they know God has heard the word. Sometimes you go to a church, there's no prophecy. The word has comes with so much exhortation and so much encouragement that you learn and say, yes, I've heard the voice of God. If you all hear the word of God, study it, you don't even need to hear my son. Somebody say, Apreku, my daughter. I heard that and I said, God is confused. God doesn't know a daughter and doesn't know a son. Apreku is a man. And you are telling me God was calling Apreku, my daughter. Hey. Anyway, I'm not stepping on toes. But tonight, all I came to see was what? Use an icon Pele to depict to us what it means to be excellent in what we do. This guy took soccer ball, just a ball. Started with just wrapping paper and put them in the socks and put them into something bouncy. And that's how this guy became famous. What are you doing to become famous? What are you doing to excel at what you are doing? 2023, we are not going to live in a mediocre life. Whatever didn't work for you 2022, find out what didn't work and do better. Don't do the same thing. Albert Einstein would tell you, if you do the same thing all over and over again, expect different results. We are bodamini. You are lunatic. You are insane. You are doing the same thing that is not working and you want to have different results. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you too. We all have to change. 2023, we have to do better. Excel at what we are doing. Excel at what we are doing. And that is what will bring us before kings and authorities. That is a kaput. Well, my time is up. I am 6 minutes over, but I believe tonight I've said something to you. You may go back to the Era One Radio on Facebook and YouTube and listen to the clip again. If you haven't subscribed to our network, go to Google Store, App Store, download the app Era One Radio. And anytime we are live, which is 24/7, you will get us live. So tonight, I want to thank my wife for joining me on the studio. I want to thank my cousin Kofi for being a contributor. Anybody that contributed, God bless you. I wish you a happy new year this year. I wish that this year we would do things differently and excellently. We would, I mean, when 2023 comes to an end on the 31st December, we will look back and say, Lord, whatever you gave us, we have excelled at it. We are all experiencing something new. We are going to change things around us. If you are back there and you've been doing something that's not working, ask yourself, why is it not working? Change your ways. Sometimes it's not the devil that is attributable to everything. Sometimes we blame the devil for even what he's not doing. Maybe the devil is in South Africa minding his business. Then you go and sin, or you go and take somebody's wife or husband. You say, oh, then what happened? Oh, Boison, mommy, yeah. I know one day the devil will be born again. Or Boison, and you people cannot blame the devil anymore. One day the devil will tell you, me, myself, I am born again. You can't blame me for everything. It will come to pass one day. Devil na de be addition so Boison na me yeah bibia Boison na me yeah bibia Boison na me yeah. One day the devil too will tell you, you know what, me too, I'm born again. The thing you are blaming me, I have no idea. I wasn't even there. I wasn't there, cry, but you are blaming me. Some of you do stuff on your own and you blame the devil. It's not going to happen. We have to change our ways and start finding out what we can do excellently. It is not everything that originates from the devil. Sometimes our own mind, our own desires lead us to do things, and then we do it. Going to take somebody's wife, you know what, it starts from your mind, and it turns physical. You can block it at a point. Sometimes it's difficult, but if you want to excel at some of the things, we will do it well. Taking government money, taking purses, taking things that do not belong to you. The economy is not working. Why? Because somebody is taking money that does not belong to them. All of us this year, we have to change. If you are a minister, you are squandering money that does not belong to you. Change. Let's do things excellently. We cry and we blame the government for malfunction and everything, but sometimes it begins from us. You are drinking water. That is like new phone so. We are that's not the two. No chat to form now. What to try to move do watching over China, baby. I would know. Would it better bottom no? We saw a habanimu and what watching a kind of continent. A cotton baby, you litter the street and the gutters are all choked. Malaria is affecting you and you are blaming somebody. It starts with us. Let us change. This year, let us be excellent at what we do and it will help us. Well, I'm fine tonight, but I thank you all for listening. I know I've given you a word. Me too, have advised myself. The things I said, I'm going to start doing them. So on behalf of Era One, thank you for watching us tonight. Have a good evening and stay blessed. All right. I'll see you Thursday when my team comes back. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Aden urefiana se otumi manya eni about Aden wasuwa mani suwa fosunyade Aden meba Aden kra ya useni daswasa eni dasonsa kra eni dasonsa yo eni dasonsa ya mensubi eni dasonsa eni dasonsa oh adio get to see eni dasonsa Eden krona mumbefra Onyenwe mo krauze Eden ebedi anaye benom Ana muni padua unse Eden krona mumbefra Okransi na duane Nani padua nsintumana Aden mi ba Aden kra Na ya unse send it so asa. Okransi na diane. Anybody and saying to mana. Adem me ba, adem cry. Now send it so asa. To a ready, my what did me? To a sit at me, ready. Eh, woo, ready. Then you come and come in Poa. Now our bones and is a sewer. Now my would be near. I dine, I was so was woman is so for some day. I didn't me back, I didn't cry. There I was standing, that's what I
say oh Jim for money and you not in the name for how new the Jina for to so no bayama if you say oh Jim for money and you not in the so people when in the soy judging no bayama if you say oh Jim for money and you not for money and you so
the fortune dancium, sepe besia manaeja, any word sunny, Kawakuma to ye, Onyamiani Kumo, so Remuno Masua, any word sunny, Nanikunda, the fortune dancium, sepe besia manaeja, I'm a brew what your dear Kwawa. Obeya maoda